Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we make sense of the corporate world. S secret handshake, and no, I'm not talking about crypto this time. Get ready for a deep dive into M3 Brigade Acquisition v Corp, S latest filing as they inch closer to a big business combination. We were going to unpack what this actually means for them and for you. Before we jump in, make sure you are subscribed to Corporate Decoder. And if you want to chat more about these filings, join our Discord community linked in the description below. Alright, so what is the story here? M.3, Brigade Acquisition v Corp, which we LAL just call M3 Brigade. Well, the company is putting out a current report. It is an 8K filing, which basically means something important and new has happened. And on the 23rd of September 2025, that something was the announcement that Pubco, which is Reserve One Holdings Incorporated, is getting ready to submit a registration statement to the CC, think of the CC, as the people who watch over the stock market to make sure everything is on the up and up. This is all part of a bigger plan called a business combination. Back on the 7th of July 2025, M3 Brigade entered into a business combination agreement with Reserve One Incorporated Pubco and a couple of other companies called merger subs. Essentially, M3 Brigade is planning to combine with Reserve One. So the big news is Pubco has quietly submitted a draft filing with the SEC this. Filing on Form S-4 is a crucial step. It is like the detailed blueprint for the entire business combination. This is where they will lay out all the plans, the financials, and what shareholders need to know to vote on this deal. Now let's look at what M3 Brigade already has out there. They have units which are basically packages of one ordinary share and half a warrant trading under the symbol MBAVU. They also have Class A ordinary shares themselves trading as MBAV and warrants separately as MBAVU. All of these are listed on the Nasdaq Stock Market LLC. This tells us they are a publicly traded entity, and these units and shares are what investors can buy and sell. It is also noted that M3 Brigade is an emerging growth company. This means they are a newer company and get to follow slightly different and often less strict rules for financial reporting compared to older, bigger corporations. This is pretty common for special purpose acquisition companies or SPACs like M3 Brigade. These units are interesting. Each one is a bundle of one share and half a warrant. Warrants are like options. They give the holder the right to buy shares at a specific price in the future. In this case, each whole warrant can be used to buy one Class A ordinary share for $11.5. This structure is pretty typical for SPACs aiming to raise capital for their future business combination. We see references to US dollars and shares here, which are pretty standard. They are reporting their financial dealings and share structures in US currency and on a per share basis, which is how most investors understand public companies. Now for the important part, the investors. The filing highlights that the registration statement will contain a preliminary proxy statement and a prospectus. These documents are vital for shareholders. The prospectus will give detailed information about the transaction and the shares being offered. The proxy statement is what shareholders will use to vote on the deal. The report strongly advises investors and shareholders to read these documents very carefully once they are available, because they will have important information about the business combination. It is a bit of a heads up really, so people know to pay attention. The filing also talks about who might be influencing the shareholders to vote for or against the deal. This includes the directors and executive officers of M3 Brigade, Reserve One and Pubco. Essentially, anyone significantly involved in the transaction might be looked at as a participant in trying to get shareholder votes. They mention that more details about these individuals and their interests will be in the proxy statement. A very important disclaimer here is that this communication is just for information. It is not an offer to sell or buy any securities. It is not trying to get you to vote a certain way either. It is just providing information about the filing process. They are very clear that no securities will be offered except through a formal prospectus that meets legal requirements. Then we get to the forward-looking statements. This is a standard part of almost every filing. It is a way for companies to talk about future expectations, hopes, and plans, but with a big dose of caution. They use words like believe, expect, anticipate, and potential. Basically, they are saying these are our best guesses about the future, but things could change and they might not happen. And they list out a bunch of risks associated with this business combination. Some of the key ones include the possibility that the deal might not get completed at all or might take longer than they expect. There is also the risk that Reserve One, being an early stage company, might not have a proven operating history. And importantly, the risk that shareholders might redeem their shares, which could affect how many shares are available for trading. They also mention risks related to the highly volatile nature of cryptocurrency prices, if Reserve One is involved in that, which is a significant concern given the name. They also point to other places where you can find more risks. This includes their previous filings like their annual report on Form 10K and quarterly reports on Form 10Q. This is like saying, hey, if you want the full list of potential problems, go read all our other documents too. It is a comprehensive way to cover their bases legally. Finally, the filing includes Exhibit 99.1, which is the actual press release they issued on the 23rd of September 2025. This is the document that announced the confidential submission of the registration statement. Okay, so wrapping up my take on this filing, M3 Brigade Acquisition v Corp is making steady progress toward its business combination with Reserve One. The confidential submission of the S-4 registration statement is a key milestone that signals they are moving forward with the detailed disclosures required for the merger. The structure of their units and warrants is standard for a SPAC, and the references to US dollars and shares confirms their operational currency and reporting basis. The company clearly states its status as an emerging growth company, which we come to expect from these types of entities. What is crucial for investors to remember is the sheer volume of information that will be presented in the upcoming prospectus and proxy statement. The emphasis on reading these documents carefully is not just a formality, it's a serious warning. The extensive list of forward-looking statements and associated risks, particularly those mentioning potential issues with deal completion reserve, 1S operational history, and even cryptocurrency volatility highlights the inherent uncertainties. So what does this all mean for the company's direction? They are certainly moving towards a significant strategic shift with this business combination. The success hinges on regulatory approvals, shareholder acceptance, and Reserve One's ability to deliver on its business plan post-merger. The risks outlined are substantial, and investors should exercise extreme caution. The company's plan seems to be to execute this merger and then rely on Reserve One's future performance. However, the volatility of Reserve One's potential industry as implied by the crypto risks is a major concern. The company's strength lie in its ability to navigate the SPAC process and reach this stage. The weaknesses appear to be the early stage nature of the target company Reserve One and the inherent risks of the business sector it operates in. The opportunities are the potential synergies and market position achievable through the combination, but the threats are significant, including regulatory hurdles and market volatility. In conclusion, M3 Brigade is on a path to merge, but the road ahead is marked with significant risks that investors absolutely need to understand. Until that S-4 is fully public and we can dissect the prospectus and proxy statement, tread carefully. Alright, that is our breakdown of M3 Brigade Acquisition v Corp's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company? Future, drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.